the Galactic Federation. Have you ever heard of those?
What we call the Interstellar Alliance. But there are actually many different kinds of alliances, many different kinds of what you might term federations or associations or alliances. So there is actually more than one. We belong to an alliance that has obviously got members, such as ourselves, interacting with you. There are other alliances that have other members interacting with your world to some degree as well.
Well, I'm thinking that I'm getting the impression that we have in your group peoples who are trying to raise the consciousness of our humanity here on the planet. Now, are we looking at the same from just about all the others, or are we...
There are different agendas for different beings, although a large number of the beings that you are aware of have your interests at heart in terms of helping you become more of yourselves, yes.
Oh, I'm very glad to hear that, but I'm kind of worried about the ones that may be out there that don't.
But you see, that's the dichotomy. Because if you spend time focused on the idea of the negative intentions, you actually lock yourself into the frequency where you make it more probable that that's what you will experience. This is why we share with you the ideas. It doesn't really matter what anyone else's intention is. The meaning and the vibration you give to life will determine what you manifest and what you align yourself with, and thus what you experience. So the idea is it's all well and good to be aware that there might be negatively intentioned individuals, but if you start being afraid of it, you actually lock yourself into the same vibration in which they operate, and that makes it more likely you will experience them instead of someone who has your best interests.
Well, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the how many members are in the Galactic Alliance?
Ours?
Yeah.
How many members as in how many civilizations?
Yes.
452 at present.
452. And we're going to be the next inclusion into that?
No.
One of the next ones coming up?
One of the next ones, yes.
Okay.
There will be many more between now and the time you become an actual member.
Ah, I see. And are most of those societies like ours or like yours? Are they like, can you describe them?
We have described some of them from time to time. What would you like us to describe about them?
I don't know. Their physical forms, their likes
and
dislikes.
All right.
Or maybe, actually, here's one question. What brings them all together? What is the common goal?
A perspective that all things are one, and a valuation of the differences that reflect to them all the ways that all that is can be. And an understanding of the synchronicity that results from that, and the expansion of awareness that results from interacting with all those other aspects.
I like that.
So do we.
Good. Okay.
Now, we are not saying that there are not different levels of understanding and different levels of expression even within the alliance. There are members that, because they themselves have a relatively unified society, are simply curious to join the alliance to see what effect it may have on them to do so. And they may have no other motivation than that. But at least in their own context, they are among themselves unified.
So it's really a group of people that have self-respect, self-love, and self-understanding that they are the one and the one is them.
Yes, and the appreciation of the difference that they are from all the other differences.
Okay.
And the difference that everyone else is from them.
Wow.
Now, there are beings, of course, that are somewhat similar to humans, but that's only about 15% of all the beings we have ever encountered.
Wow.
Most of the ones that are similar to humans in the sense that they have the two arms, the two legs, the head with the two eyes, are actually, for the most part, actually genetically related to you. Or, I'll be more precise, you are genetically related to them. Thereafter that 15%, most of the ones are not in any way, shape, or form what you would recognize as human.
Are they still corporeal?
Most of them. There are a few in the alliance who have the ability not to be.
As your society is getting into, right?
Yes.
I see.
But most of them have at least what you would recognize as the ability to project a corporeal aspect of some sort that most members can relate to. But for some, that's just a projection of convenience.
We have said many times, there have been many demonstrations given over the military bases on your planet that harbor nuclear missiles, where our crafts have, by hovering over and extending their electromagnetic beams, shut down the launch codes, erased the launch codes, scrambled the launch codes to demonstrate that while it might still be possible for there to be a limited nuclear strike, a small one somewhere on your world, the idea of global thermonuclear war would rip through the fabric of dimensions to other realities, and this you are not allowed to do. So this will be prevented on a larger scale, even though smaller scales that will not have that effect interdimensionally can still be allowed, because you still have to make up your own minds about what you wish to experience on your world. But the larger expression of it, yes, is not allowed and will be prevented.
What makes us special as human race compared to other members of Interstellar Alliance? Why did you decide to pick us specifically to be a member of the Interstellar Alliance? And at what point in our history and why was that decided?
You are our ancestors. We are literally genetically connected to you. We are family. The idea of the demarcation line was when the hybridization agenda began, about 6,000 years ago in your terms of understanding. So the idea is that we are connected. We are family. That's the difference, specifically. The story involves humans and hybrids and the evolution of the human race.
So are most of the beings in the Interstellar Alliance humanoid in the sense of five? No.
No. The majority are not in any way, shape, or form. But there are those that are relations, that are cousins, that are similar in terms of their evolutionary path. But no, the vast majority have nothing to do with looking like a human.
So it would be like octopi and other creatures that have sentient intelligence beyond ours, or?
Yes, and some that you can't even imagine because there is absolutely no analogy or correlation to the beings on your planet.
So how did all of these beings come together, and what would you say is the level of consciousness of the beings that are part of this alliance?
Those that understand and act upon the idea of whole systems.
So can you give us an example of a species we're not aware of that would look nothing like a human?
Well, we've told you about several of them. We told you about the ones that exist almost like spheres that roll around on the inside of a bubble in liquid space. We've told you about that. That's nothing like a human. Yes?
Yes.
We will go into different varieties of extraterrestrials that are non-human at another time in another transmission.
It almost seems like there's some sort of an organizing body that would then create the ability for all these different types of beings to be able to connect in.
As we have told you in the formula, the natural result of following it and understanding whole systems is the organizing principle of synchronicity. Therefore, synchronicity is the organizing mechanism that brings all of these beings together.
Absolutely fascinating. So our little corner of the reality where we have humanoid types that we're interacting with, essentially, as our first contact experiences.
Yes. Will make it a smoother transition for many of you because it's something relatively familiar.
And is that by a grand plan, or is that something that the Alliance orchestrates for that very specific reason?
It is synchronicity and also amplified and magnified by the Alliance.
So something happens when all these consciousnesses join together and form this alliance?
Oh, yes. We'll go into that at another time as well.
That's pretty exciting. Okay, so
as you move more deeply into the idea of membership in the Alliance, there will be many things to explain and describe to you that will go beyond what you typically think of as interactions with extraterrestrial beings. We will give you a fuller picture of what it means to be a member of the Alliance. This will happen sometime in the window of open contact, which begins next year of your time in 2023.
Also, you use the expression, the association of worlds. Is this association of worlds identical to what you now call the Interstellar Alliance?
Yes. There have been many interpretations for the images and energies and information that we send through the channel, different ways of interpreting it according to the vocabulary that may have existed within the channel at the time. As things get refined, as there is more familiarity between the channel and our energy, then there can be a different selection of words that might be more representative of the true spirit of this confederation, as you might refer to it. So the idea of the association of worlds is not inaccurate, but the term Interstellar Alliance, in that sense, seems more precise to focus on the idea of the alliance energy that we share between all the different civilizations, as opposed to simply something that may be considered a loose association. So over time, there may be slightly different interpretations, slightly different vocabulary that may be emphasized to express more precision about the concept. But Interstellar Alliance will do and is representative of the connections that all the civilizations have agreed to have.
And the concept of crime amongst members of the Interstellar Alliance?
Not amongst members of the Interstellar Alliance, no.
There
are other civilizations that have some similar patterns that you experience on Earth, that may experience such things in their own way, but it doesn't usually stretch out among the stars, because it takes a certain state of being to become intergalactically mature enough to actually join an alliance like ours. So it becomes senseless at a certain point when you realize the magnitude of even your own single universe and the plenty that exists within it that you can access for all. So remember that the idea of those struggles and battles and wars and crimes usually stem from a sense of lack. But when you come out into the universe, the abundance that's available to you is clear. And therefore, you never receive, once you're out here, any kind of a sense of lack. Only a sense of connection. Only a sense of abundance.
It's so interesting. So many of our movies, are focused on this idea of conflict in space. Yes. And that's just because we're still in that predatory stage.
Now, such things can exist within a solar system, because that's still your backyard. That's still your territory. And there have, in the ancient Orion days of suppression and oppression among certain kinds of star systems, allowed it to stretch to a few different neighboring stars. But it doesn't really, again, go much further than that. That's actually relatively rare, and the Orion systems issue is relatively unique.
When you make agreements with other civilizations in the Alliance to perform services for each other,
yes.
What are some of the most unique services that you've had to perform for each other?
One of the most unique services that we have performed for other civilizations is creating an energy field in our civilization that allows them to create a temporary body in our civilization to experience our civilization temporarily. Thus, then, when they are done with that experience, they simply pop out, retract their consciousness, and the body dissipates back into energy. Thus, then, they do not have to have what you call a full incarnation. They can have a true physical temporary surrogate experience in one of our forms to experience the sensations of our reality without that full incarnational cycle.
Also, when you help bring other civilizations into the Alliance besides us, what are some of the contact methods that you use with them? Because I imagine that their situation is probably very different than ours.
Oh, yes, of course. There are many different contact methods per se. One had to do with the idea of allowing them to appreciate that we understood their musical language. And in that sense, by replicating their musical language, they were willing to communicate. Do you understand?
Yes.
That was their sole criteria for allowing connection to other civilizations. That you had to comprehend and, in a sense, repeat back or reflect back very specific tonalities in their musical language for them to understand that a true connection existed. Without that tonal reflection, they have a belief system that says that connection is not appropriate at that timing.
Kind of like with us, we have to see you first before we believe that you're there.
Well, not exactly in that expression. More the idea that we have to understand and experience that there is a piece of us in you before we will know that you know we are all connected. So if you are operating on that level, you will be able to show us that you're operating on that level by reflecting back to us the piece of us that exists within you. And when we see that reflection, we will know that you know we are all connected, and we will feel, in a sense, appropriate in strengthening the connection from that point forward. But without that reflection, they do not allow themselves to form a solid connection to that civilization.
Okay, and for those civilizations that you've already brought over,
Yes.
what was their initial reaction to the first physical contact with you?
Well, certainly they don't have all the same reaction. You understand?
Right.
It depends not only on a civilization by civilization basis, it often sometimes depends on the individuals that are first contacted and how they relate to their civilization. But generally speaking, open contact does not really occur until there is at least some measure of coherency and cohesiveness in that civilization. Thus then, even though there are a variety of ways that individual civilizations may respond to first contact, we only make that contact when we now know that the response will generally be positive and beneficial for the entire civilization. Nevertheless, one example of open contact was all individuals in that civilization all at once lying down on the ground facing skyward. This was their way of acting as intermediaries between their planet and the sky. It was their symbol for connecting what you would call heaven and earth. So when we appeared and they recognized that the timing had come for them to connect to beings from the stars, they all lay down on their backs and looked up at the sky as an expression of gratitude and thanks and readiness for acting as intermediaries between their world and the stars.
It is allowing oneself to have a deeper understanding of the term authenticity. Being your authentic self. What does that mean? Being true to yourself, being in alignment with yourself, your true signature frequency, of course. But it also means, really, as you say, putting it out there, really acting on your passion. The idea is that you have chosen to have a physiological experience, a physiological lifespan. That physiological lifespan plays out according to the theme and themes you have chosen to explore. And it is up to you to decide how you will explore them. Now, we are not saying that you cannot have an authentic life, have an extraordinary life, by being in a state of balanced peace. Of course you can. It doesn't mean that when we say it is important to act in your life, that you have to be running all over the world. You can be stable, peaceful, balanced in one location for the entire lifespan, if you wish. If that is true for you, really true. However, we recognize that because of the thousands of years of fears that have existed on your planet, that have embedded within many of you in your culture, your society, in your upbringing, the idea of definitions of diminishment, definitions of devaluation, definitions of the experience of disconnection, that many of you will not necessarily be acting as fully as you could be, will not allow yourselves to be your authentic beings. And now is the time to change that. As has been said, you know you are going through a transformation in this day and age. You know that it is about the idea of letting go of the things that are not you and incorporating the things that are, in the most profound, most artistically creative and expressive way possible. It is about getting out there and doing it, not holding back, not hesitating to be yourselves, your authentic selves. It is about being bold, adventurous, courageous, confident, curious, imaginative, excited, interactive, expressive, not holding back the gifts that you have to give, not depriving others of those gifts. Because while you may feel from time to time that you are seeking and searching for things, others also are seeking and searching for what you have to share, for what you have to give, for the expression of your true authentic self. When more and more and more of you are really allowing that authentic self to come to the forefront and to stand tall and to stand firm with your feet firmly planted on the ground and your consciousness raised to the heavens so that you stand in between that balance point of heaven and earth, as you say. And you allow yourself in that state of being, in that state of certainty, to really know it's all right, to really know it is your purpose, to really know that you can act, put forth, give out that gift, express that gift. And there will always, always, always be a reflection from those that have been seeking what you have to give. It may not come in the form you expected, but the unexpected is to be expected in your lives from this point forward. Allow yourselves to be prepared to turn left and turn right in unexpected ways, to go up, to go down, to go forward, to go back in unexpected ways. Follow the flow of the path of least resistance, no matter how it may wind, no matter how it may twist and turn through your life. For those twists and those turns are your trips, your adventures, your processes, your explorations, your discoveries of more of yourself. And were they not essential to understanding the fullness of your being, those twists and turns would not exist in the path that you are. They are there for a purpose. They are there for a reason. They are there to help you authenticate yourself, validate yourself, get reflections and reinforcements of the true being that you are. For as you put that out there, you will always get the reinforcement and reflection and support of creation, that this is who you say you are. Creation will never contradict you, ever. It is not designed to do that. It is designed to support you unconditionally in whatever you say is your truth, and whatever you say is true for you, if it really is in alignment with your signature frequency. Always in living an extraordinary life, always, too, must you incorporate the idea of balance, gratitude, grace, appreciation, and always take the time, always take a pause, and always take a moment to make sure that you are being truly authentic, that you are not disguising your anxiety as excitement, not burying the idea of definitions that you are too afraid to look at, because you are afraid that if you go diving down to look at, to examine, and to explore and investigate those negative beliefs you may have about yourself, many of you may be too afraid to find out that if you go exploring, you will discover that those negative beliefs are actually true. I guarantee you they will never be true. They will never be true. For you are a co-creator. You are made in the image of creation. You are what gives life meaning. You are the reflection of the all that is exploring its unique self. And this idea of your extraordinary life and the authenticity is all based on the concept of your unique perspective. You are the only one of your kind. You will ever be the only one of your kind. And no matter how many other simultaneous, incarnational existences you may cross-connect to from the present, there will always only be one of you. You will always only have this one life to live as you. So live it to the fullest. Allow it to be what you designed it to be. Work in harmony, work in concert with your higher mind. For your soul being has, in a sense, set itself up as a duality and a trinity by creating the split of the non-physical higher mind and the physical mind and the balance point in between. You function on all three levels simultaneously, and by allowing there to be that balance between the two, allowing the relationship between the physical and the higher mind to work smoothly, to let each other do the jobs you were designed to do, to support each other, to reflect to each other what it is you were designed to support and reflect, you will be functioning as a whole being, as a whole person, as your authentic self, as your adventurous self, as your extraordinary self. Any time that you only allow your physical mind to control everything, to manipulate everything, thinking that is the only way to allow yourself to experience your self-empowerment, that it is the only way to allow your life to fall into place, anytime you allow only the physical mind to do that, you are functioning as a half person, not a whole being. In truth, in a sense, without the higher mind, the physical mind is literally a half-wit. So use all your wits. Use them the way they were designed to be used. Rely on the higher mind. It is standing on the mountaintop. It can see farther than the physical mind. It can see where you're going. It can see the path you are. The physical mind down in the valley is wandering to and fro, going around this outcrop and that outcrop, going down into that valley, crossing this river and that river, or that ocean and this ocean. And it can only see so far. It can only see to the physical horizon. But the higher mind is on the mountaintop. It can be all the way out into space, and it can look far beyond and guide you unerringly if you are willing to allow it to do so. And this is the point that we have discussed about your visualization of your life, your authentic life, your extraordinary life. It is absolutely, profoundly helpful to have that vision in your mind, that symbol in your physical mind of what represents to you that extraordinary life. Seeing yourself in all the places in the world that excite you. Seeing yourself clearly, viscerally, doing all the things in your life that you say are representative of your highest joy and your passion. Applying that and watching yourself thrive, watching yourself be creative, watching that version of you live a life of ecstasy and joy and calm and peace and contentment and confidence. But the idea, again, is that your higher mind, and only your higher mind, knows exactly what that's really going to look like, how that's really going to physically manifest. So by using the symbol to get yourself amped up into a state of excitement, because if you really connect to that visualization, you will feel like that is you. You will start to mirror, to mimic, to match the vibration, the body language, the actions, the choices that that version of you in that visualization is doing. You will behave like that version of you more and more and more. The more you key into it, the more you have that visualization. But that's just for the purpose of getting you to start behaving like that you, to exist in the state of being of that version of you, to feel the excitement and passion and peace and balance that exists within that version of you. And as soon as you feel that, as soon as it rises, as soon as it fulfills you, as soon as you radiate that frequency and you feel you're going to burst at the seams, you're so excited about that visualization of the ideal reality, the ideal, authentic, adventurous, extraordinary life, drop it, erase it, blanket, zero. Flatten it out and go into the void. But keep the excited state. And then hand over that energy to your higher mind and let it take that energy and lay it out like a blanket upon the landscape and let it show you what things need to now come to you, in what order, in what way, in what fashion, at what timing, with whom it is attendant, how it expresses itself. Perhaps it may look similar to what you visualize. Perhaps it will look nothing like it. But know for a fact that what it brings you next when you're in that state, if you stay in that state, will be exactly the thing you need for your extraordinary life, for the life to continue to be experienced in an extraordinary way. You are all capable of living your version of an extraordinary life. You all have it within you. And it's just an issue of letting it out. Letting that vibration leak into the world so that by example of living that life, you allow other people to see in your example that you are so ecstatic, living that extraordinary, adventurous, curious, imaginative, and creative, loving, passionate life, that they will come to you in droves. How did you do this? How are you living this way? How is this working for you? This is who I want to be. And you will inspire. And by your example, you will support their opportunity to have more option, to choose an extraordinary life themselves. Ignite each other. On your planet, in the practice and understanding known as Zen, they have an image that is exactly representative of what we are speaking of here. And it is the candle flame. Imagine this now. You are a candle, and you have lit your flame, and you are surrounded by unlit candles. As you take your candle, you can light all the other candles. Your flame never diminishes, but all the other candles ignite. And that flame grows and it spreads into 1,000, 100,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000 flames of their own. By the first flame, by your willingness to shine that inner light outwardly, do you give them an opportunity to take their candle and match the frequency of your joy and ignite their own candle, ignite their own flame, to allow that single flame to turn into billions of flames? At least the opportunity. Should some candles choose not to match that vibration, allow them their choice unconditionally. That is also part of your authenticity, part of your extraordinary life, to be so allowing, so unconditionally allowing, that others who may make choices that you can see clearly are out of alignment with their true selves. It doesn't mean you condone it for yourself. It doesn't mean you gloss it over. It doesn't mean you don't recognize that it may be a negative energy choice. But you also understand that even though some may always choose a negative idea and not have a deep understanding of the positive energy being offered to them because of their own fear-based definitions, they may not know what to do with that. They may not know how to behave in alignment with that. They may choose negative behavior, even as a result of being exposed to the idea of a positive vibration. And you can recognize that and have the compassion to wish them well. You can share with them that they have alternatives, but should they choose not to take them, be unconditionally allow them to find their own way. You cannot force anything on anyone, for if you do, all you're saying is you don't believe in the power of what you believe in yourself. For the greatest power requires the lightest, gentlest touch. Look at all that is. It is so powerful, you hardly feel it at all. That's how powerful it is.
It does not have any need to force itself upon you. God's will is your will, because you are all that is. If the idea of all that is forced its will upon you, it would be contradicting the creation that you are within it. You are created to be who you are as a reflection, as an experience of all that is. You are made of all that is. We are made of all that is. Everything is made from all that is. What need does it have to exercise its will on itself? The reason you say that God, Goddess, all that is omnipotent. The reason you say it is omnipresent and omniscient, the only way that can actually be possible is if it is everywhere, because it is everything in existence. So it does not contradict itself. You are the aspect you are for a reason. And without you, all that is would not be all that is. Cherish that uniqueness. Cherish that authenticity. Cherish that ability to express the unique point of view that you are. Cherish it. Don't ignore it. Don't damp it down. Don't deny it. Let it free. Let it out. Let it be the shining light that helps ignite a billion candles. And then your world will be alight with flame of creation. You will ignite the passion within yourselves simply by your proximity, simply by your enthusiasm, simply by your passion. For you all know that when you see someone so inspired, so passionate, you know you can feel the passion rising within you to match that frequency in your own way, to be inspired by them and to be your own version of that idea that they are expressing so passionately, so fervently, so creatively, so beautifully, so joyfully in their lives. Let your imagination run free. It is the conduit of communion between you and the higher mind. Express it in action, because you are grounded in physical reality experience. And without that action, without that physical action, you haven't completed the circuit. Don't just be a spectator. Be involved. Be active. Put it out there. Some may not listen, but some will. And then others will listen to them. And others will listen to them. And others will listen to them. And so the perspective will shift and change. And as you then continue to shift billions of times per second through a multitude of parallel Earth realities, more and more and more and more, you will find yourself on course, shifting in the direction of the parallel versions of Earth that are more reflective, more representative of the changes you have made within yourself, and that will ultimately be the only versions of Earth you will experience. That is the path you are on. That is the direction you are taking. Were it not so, we would not be having these conversations with you. For not only does creation not make pointless creations, thus validating your very existence, we also only do what excites us the most. And we also don't do pointless things. Having these conversations with you, having first contact with your world, excites us beyond our ability to express, for you are family. And by forming these connections and allowing these connections, we are family growing together, expanding beyond what either of us can imagine we could become. And in becoming it, then we gain a new understanding and a new perspective of creation and all that is. But to be that expanded family, to be that extended family, to be that authentic family, to be that adventurous family, to be that extraordinary family, you must be the state of being of that family first. So come, join our family. And allow us to explore creation together in new and imaginative and startling ways beyond what you can presently conceive. Be your extraordinary selves. Don't hold back.
Don't hold back. Don't hold back. If anything, hold forward.
Okay. And can you please share your perspective on compassion? In this person's country, the word is primarily associated with sympathy and pity. While they've never fully resonated with that definition, they find it difficult to separate compassion from feelings of pity. How can you understand that and experience it in a way that is more aligned?
Use the analogy of a parent and a child. When a child doesn't understand something yet, they haven't learned a certain lesson yet, they haven't learned how to navigate certain things in physical reality. Do you sympathize? Do you pity them? No. You have compassion that they are on a learning path. You love them no less, and you hold a space for them and teach them how to learn those things in a constructive and positive way. That's the feeling. You understand that they are on a path where they have chosen to learn certain things in a certain way. You hold a positive, loving space for them to be able to do so. That's what compassion is. You look beyond the idea of what may appear to be momentary and temporary limitations to the broader and bigger picture that they're on a path of learning certain things, and you don't pity a child for not knowing them. You have the largesse and the compassion to create a space for them in which they are invited to grow and to learn, and to see them as powerful souls that have chosen these lessons, that have chosen this life path to learn those lessons in that way. Pity is not necessary and is not involved when you have compassion for others. So think about the analogy of a loving parent and a child. That may help you.
And on your level, do you experience pity at all?
No. Why should we?
The next question is discussing problems or issues in the world inherently negative or disempowering? Does talking about these topics give them reality, or is it more beneficial to focus on positive and trust in the perfection of things?
Well, why can't you do both? Why isn't it this and that instead of this or that? It's not about avoidance. It's about constructive conversation, constructive and positive communication about the things that you think are important to change in your society. Avoiding them isn't the issue. You can focus on what you prefer, but that doesn't mean you avoid the idea that you're still part of a society that is dealing with certain issues, and that you can add your own constructive point of view that may in fact help the situation be resolved in a positive and constructive way eventually. So it's not about avoidance. It's about inclusion. It's about communication. It's about willingness to participate and be involved because you're part of a society that is dealing with issues that need resolution. But come at it from a positive and constructive point of view, knowing what is possible, knowing what is probable, knowing what could be more beneficial. But the idea is engage, but engage in a positive way. It's not inherently negative to discuss things that themselves might be negative, if you approach it from the idea of how can we make this more positive and more beneficial for all. So, of course, it's the style of the approach that makes the difference. Remember, again, it's not about what happens, it's about what you do with what happens that makes the difference. So it's not about the idea that you're discussing things that might inherently have been created negatively that pulls you into negativity or reinforces the negativity. It depends on how you approach it, of course.
As part of what you're saying, is this the idea of detachment? Is that an element or a key aspect of
attached detachment, as some people on your planet have put it? Attached detachment. You are involved, you are engaged, but you know that you're not negatively affected by it just because you might be discussing something that might have been created from negativity. So You are detached in the sense of it having a negative effect on you because you know you're approaching it in a way that could be of benefit to many to find a resolution that works for all. So you are engaged, you are attached, but you are detached in the sense of it's not going to affect you unless you choose to be affected.
And how would you say that relates to the idea of the glass wall when you're observing things that appear to be in your reality, but you're actually seeing them through a glass wall?
It's a direct analogy of what we just described. The glass wall is another way of saying attached detachment. You can observe, you can help, you can comment, you can interact, but it's not going to touch you because you are detached enough to know that you're the one that makes the choice as to what affects you because you're affecting yourself. The only thing you ever feel is your own energy. And if you know that, that's the glass wall.
Okay. This person is asking, as a mother, what is the best way to introduce your teaching or a new perspective of truth to her children? They are raised in a Christian Bible-based school, and she doesn't know how to bridge this gap with them while she's still learning herself.
Well, again, as we have said, there are many things you can do with children that don't necessarily involve whatever kind of religion or faith they may choose to belong to or are being exposed to. And that is the idea of using your own creative imagination to create scenarios in a safe environment, simulations, if you will, where children can be taught the consequences of the choices they make because everything is interconnected. You can teach them that everything is interconnected, and with your creative imagination, create analogies and, shall we say, demonstrations of this, if you are imaginative and creative enough, in a way that they can understand that every choice they make has consequences because it connects to everything else, that you're operating with whole systems, that nothing is isolated, everything's connected to everything else. So if they can learn to make choices that are beneficial for all, for the whole, then they themselves will also be served. If they're just serving themselves, then they're cutting themselves off from the benefits of the whole. Teach them that they are as powerful as they need to be to attract whatever they truly need in life without having to hurt themselves or anyone else in order to attract that, in order to get what they need. You can teach them the formula in general in whatever terms and language they are willing to understand, and just make sure that anything that you believe is necessary for them to thrive in physical reality as a lesson is adapted to their excitement rather than trying to adapt their excitement to the lesson. Those things can allow them to mature into adults regardless of whatever ideas of spirituality, faith, religion, what have you, they may hold on to, because some of those things can serve them in positive ways if they use them that way. But the idea is to know that they are self-empowered beings who can grow up into mature, constructive, and positive adults that will benefit society and benefit themselves by understanding the consequences of the choices that they make, and therefore making beneficial and positive choices for themselves and for society.
Okay, and this person is a teacher of 10 and 11-year-old students and wants to know if these children are really a new species and what exactly does that mean?
It means their DNA alteration is slightly different from your DNA configuration, generally speaking. It means they have more access to more of who they are as a soul. It means they can demonstrate more and different abilities than past generations were capable of doing, because the DNA arrangement that they came through with allows them to tap into higher frequency information and energies than past generations were capable of doing. And in that sense, they are a different species.
And this person is a member of a Reddit group for experiencers. And the person who leads that group is associated with Stephen Greer. And it seems very legit and conscientious. And the thought is that many of the people who have experienced encounters with ETs are what is called neurodivergent. Like in a room of 100 experiencers, 90% of them will either be autistic or have ADHD or both. why is it that so many of them who have had close encounters with ETs are neurodivergent?
Because the soul knew that coming into physical reality would require an alteration of their focus so that they could, in a sense, not be so subjected to the general consensus reality, and therefore would have attributes that would make them more open to receiving higher frequency information from different dimensional realms, therefore acting as a model or a symbol or a representation of what exists in all Homo sapiens that can open up and allow them to experience open contact more easily and more readily.
And I guess this is kind of connected, the idea that there are humans on Earth who have received genetic modifications by the Greys, and that makes them more compatible in certain ways with ETs.
Yes.
These people may also exhibit autistic traits and have trouble relating to other humans. Are these precursors?
No. Precursors were not born on Earth. You may be preparers, but that's different. Preparers are Homo sapiens that have made a life choice to be involved in the ideas of teaching humanity how to be in the different altered states and learn lessons from different altered states and ways of presenting and communication that can prepare humanity for open contact. But precursors are actually extraterrestrial beings that were not born on Earth, that may walk among you in order to, shall we say, rub off on you in terms of their vibration and take notice of how many people are sensitive enough to notice that they are different.
And here's a new question. Do spirit guides place bets on the spirits they're supposed to be guiding through physical reality?
No, that's a human activity.
I've never heard that one before. How does
I bet you haven't.
How does all that is know that it is only one? It is the only one. Is it
That is
possible
the
for
nature of all that is. There can be many versions of all that is, but then that still implies that there is an all that is of all that is. So by the very definition of the way that we're phrasing that, all that is, inherently, its quality, one of its qualities, one of its abilities would be to know that it is the one.
Okay, so we have some questions, some ET questions. And before I do that, let's talk about a few current events. First one is the LA fires. Why did our beloved City of Angels go up in flames? What lessons are we to learn from this tragedy?
Number one, I think many of you understand that it's connected to the changes in your climate because of what has happened in your environment that has allowed the idea of your environmental weather patterns to change in such a way as to make certain areas more vulnerable to different kinds of natural phenomenon, whether it be fire, whether it be flood, so on and so forth. Extremes are the result of the imbalance that has been created in nature. Climate change acts in different ways in different locations on your planet. Some places get drier, more susceptible to fire. Some places get wetter and more susceptible to flooding. Some places get colder and more susceptible to freezing. Some places get hotter and are more susceptible to desertification. So it's all about the idea of all the different variations becoming more pronounced and more exaggerated as you go through the idea of climate change, which is A, a natural cycle, but B, sped up by the technologies of humanity. What's going on now, most likely without the technological assistance, so to speak, probably wouldn't have happened for at least another century or two. But now you have sped it up with the idea of your technologies that are in many ways destroying the environment or imbalancing it. Number two, the idea is to, because of the new way in which you have to deal with your environment through climate change, to stop rebuilding the same way you used to. learn new techniques, learn how to adapt. So don't just build what was there before that is easily destroyed. Adapt and build in new ways. Learn how to build with nature.
All right. And is there also a level of it that has to do with like anger? Is fire representative of anger or
For some people, it can
purification or
in case by case basis.
okay. And this person would like clarification when you said that the female will lead to open contact and the male to World War III.
We're not going to discuss that at this time.
Okay. All right. And let's see. So what you were talking about before with the idea of fire, it doesn't have what are some of the representations spiritually that fire has for humans on a collective level?
Acceleration, clearing out, rebuilding, starting from scratch, zeroing out, clean slate, purification. Those can be some representations of the idea of the experience of fire. But it can also, again, like anything, have positive and negative connotations. It can be that which is out of control. As you said, it can be the representation of anger, temper, temperature, temper. So again, it can be many things to many people. You have to take it on an individual and perhaps sometimes even on a collective group basis as to what it may represent to different people that are going through those experiences and what lessons they are willing to learn.
Okay. And are there humans who have directly and extensively interacted with mantis beings and co-created hybrid children with them?
No.
And can
interacted with mantis beings? Yes. Created hybrid children with them? No. That is not the function of the mantis being, to be involved in the hybridization agenda in that way. They are the overseers of it. They are not participating in it in the way that the Greys are.
And do you personally have guides and angels that assist you like we do on Earth?
Everyone does. Every being does.
Can you tell us anything about your guides or your angels?
Not at this time. That is a subject for another time.
Okay. And you've made it clear that the hybridization program is very important for the soul growth of those who are involved. What would happen to those souls if they no longer had opportunities for growth provided by the hybridization agenda?
They would find opportunities in some other agenda, in some other place, in some other scenario. Souls will always seek what they need to grow. So it doesn't matter what the scenario is. This one happens to be an opportunity that is available on Earth at this time, but souls can go anywhere they wish to gain whatever they need as a lesson that helps them grow, that helps the universe expand.
And is there a Galactic Federation ship already in position and ready for disclosure, specifically in the Gulf of Mexico?
Over the Yucatan, yes.
Okay. And you have many followers in Europe, but they feel the greatest number of UFOs are happening in America. Why is that? Is it because of the environment or the energy here that it's not suitable for them?
No, it's because the United States, more than almost any other country, refuses to accept the reality of UFOs. Therefore, we have to show off more often that we're here.
Okay, and as your sensing goes, are we still on track to have contact within 5 years?
Yes.
Or open contact?
Yes.
Okay. And now that we've navigated ourselves to a timeline of open contact within the next 5 years, why is it important to continue with the Interstellar Alliance social experiment?
Because it will determine the way in which you experience open contact, making you more vibrationally compatible to experience open contact in certain ways rather than not being as vibrationally compatible with open contact and experiencing it in other ways. So it gives you more opportunity. The social experiment gives you more opportunity to experience a broader spectrum of ways in which you can experience open contact to your benefit.
Hi, Bashar.
Anna, you good day.
I've been thinking a lot about what I would ask, and I've been following your teachings for a while, and I understand that I should be acting on my highest excitement.
Well, it's not a should, it's a choice.
Yes. And I feel very stuck in my life right now.
How exciting.
I know.
So you're at a crossroads.
Yeah.
Which means you have many options.
Yeah.
What are they?
Well, I'm pregnant.
Oh, all right. Congratulations.
That's a new path that's really exciting. Thank you. I feel like there's a calling on my life to be a part of the awakening of humanity.
And how would you like to express that in your passion?
Well, I'm very passionate about personal development and growth.
Yes.
But I'm passionate at consuming it for myself, and I feel like I need to share it.
And how would you like to do that? That's what I'm asking you. What is the most exciting way you can imagine sharing that kind of information to be of assistance to others, so you can help them also find their passion and become more of who they are? How would you prefer to do that? What's the most exciting way? Because remember, please remember, when we talk about acting on your passion, your excitement, all the components of it need to match in order for it to be truly representative of your excitement. So it's not only acting on the thing at any given moment that's exciting to you more than anything else, but how it's most exciting, where it's most exciting, with whom it's most exciting. All the components need to be there, or it's not a true representation of your excitement. Yes?
Yes.
So?
This is the part where I feel like it's a brain, because...
Brain,
Like F-U-C-K, you know, like... Because for me right now...
If I see K, what do you want me to tell her?
This is the first time in my life where, like, I don't feel like I could answer that question because...
What if
Yeah.
the most exciting thing for you right now is to figure this out?
That is, yes.
You do understand, as we have said before, that when we talk about acting on your excitement, it doesn't mean you have to be jumping up and down and running around with your hair on fire. Being in a state of balanced contemplation and peace can be an expression of your passion if it is necessary at that moment for you to do so. So what if this is your moment to simply take the time to decide and discover what might be the ways in which you would prefer to express this idea that you're talking about, and to trust that synchronicity will bring you the opportunities and the options that will then be obvious, in a sense, when they come to you. Not that the way it comes to you has to be the way that comes to fruition, remember, because sometimes excitement simply needs to get to you in whatever form you're willing to pay attention to. And sometimes it has to come in a form that gets your attention. It doesn't mean that that particular expression has to come to fruition. It may only come to you that way just to get you to start moving.
Right.
But also, as we remind you, it's also about little steps. So we assume, you can correct us if we are in error, that you are here tonight because out of all the options available to you, this was the most exciting choice at the time.
Absolutely.
Well, it's as easy as that. When you are done with this experience, you will have other choices. You can go home, you can read a book, you can see a movie, you can have some dinner, you can call a friend, you can do many different things. You have many options available to you. All you have to do is keep choosing the one that has even just the teeny tiny little bit more excitement than any other choice. That's all you have to do. Just say which one has even just a smidgen more excitement, more attractiveness than any other option I am now aware of, and just act on that one first to the best that you are able, taking it as far as you can till you can take it no further, with absolutely zero insistence or assumption as to what the outcome of that action ought to be, and you will be following the formula perfectly that will allow you to continue to accelerate and expand and receive bigger and bigger and bigger and more obvious opportunities for you to act on to expand your expression of excitement. That's why we call this the instruction manual. It's how reality is built. So if you just even do that, just those tiny little steps, it will snowball. It will get bigger. Yes?
Yes. And
Is
I
that
feel like I'm
so
doing
difficult?
that. No.
Well, if you are doing it, saying you feel like you are doing it is not necessarily that you are doing it.
Right.
So are you honestly doing it?
At times, absolutely.
Well, we're not talking about the times
Right.
when you do, are we?
Right.
We're talking about the times when you don't. And what would be the reason why you don't would be the most important question to ask yourself.
Well, I have a question
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
So I hear callings, for example, like to spread my message through making videos online and being more seen online.
Yes.
But then I get fearful to do it.
Thank you. And why?
Afraid of being seen, afraid of not being good enough, not knowing what to say.
Blah, 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 blah,
Exactly.
blah, 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 blah. Are you tired of hearing those things?
Yes.
Then why are you judging yourself? Even before anyone else gets a chance to.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
The idea really is that, again, if you have a gift to give, there are people who are ready to receive it. The ones who are not ready to receive it, the ones who do not wish to receive it, the ones who have something negative to say about you doing that, aren't your audience anyway.
Right.
And you will never convince them that they are. They have to convince themselves that they will get benefit out of your information. But if you never share it, the ones who actually need it, who are looking for it, are deprived of it.
Yeah.
You're being a meanie, holding it back from them. Why are you being so unkind to the people who are waiting to receive the information, the gifts you have to give?
Because I can't get over myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what prevents you from getting over yourself?
The bullshit stories I keep telling myself.
And
about
why do
why
you
I
keep
can't.
telling yourself stories that you no longer prefer to hear? What do you get out of doing it?
There's obviously a secondary gain, but I don't know.
Well, that's where the motivational mechanism comes in. You have to find out what you would have to believe is true in order to move in the direction of something you don't prefer instead of the direction that you do. Because you see, again, this is without fail. Without fail. You always move in the direction of what you believe benefits you. You always move away from what you believe does not benefit you. Always. Without fail. Therefore, if you're moving in the direction of something that doesn't benefit you, that can only mean you're disguising it to appear as if it does benefit you. And if you're moving away from what would truly benefit you, that means you're disguising it with a definition or a belief to make it seem as if it would be not beneficial to you. So you have to find out what the definitions are you're attaching to your motivational mechanism that would disguise these things in reverse order.
Yeah.
So what do you believe is the benefit, as you sort of already hinted at, for not putting this information out there? You have said, well, people will judge me, I won't be good enough, etc., blah, 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 yes? But do you really, really believe that those things are true now that you understand that the only people that matter in that context are the ones that are willing to receive it anyway? Who cares what the others think?
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
So if you understand that, is there anything holding you back? If there is, that's fine. Be honest.
So the thing that holds me back is, so for example, Daryl channels you, and I feel like that information comes from a higher source, and I get all information comes from a higher source.
Yes.
All my learnings have come through reading and seminars and events. And
So what?
I guess I'm afraid that I don't have my own unique content to share.
But you are unique.
Yeah.
And therefore you're going to spin it in whatever way makes sense to you. It'll come to you. But you see, the thing of it is, you're not allowing yourself to discover what your unique presentation or style or interpretation actually is because you're not even willing to begin. You can't learn who you are if you don't act like who you are.
Right.
You can't receive what you're not the vibration of. So you don't have to have it all when you begin. You have to begin to have it all.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
So if you are really excited about discovering what your interpretation, your spin on these concepts are, then you have to begin to share something so that you can create a reflection that comes back to you, that then guides you, that then course corrects you toward the way in which you would more uniquely be capable of expressing it for the people that are willing to hear it through your unique expression. And when you do that, you're allowing your higher mind to be part of the equation, and therefore the information will be coming from a higher source.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
Is this making sense?
Absolutely.
Is this helping?
Yes, thank you.
Is there anything else?
Do you have anything else that...
I'm not holding anything back from you. It really is that simple. That's perhaps another thing you need to understand. It really is no more complicated than that. You don't need to overthink it. Let it be obvious. You learn by doing.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
So the only way to really learn who you are is to do something that allows you to discover that.
Right.
You have to begin somewhere. You have to take the baby steps. If the baby doesn't take the first steps, the baby never learns to walk and then run. Yes?
Yes.
So you will come up with your own unique expression. You'll be inspired to do so. Synchronicity in your life will then bring you things to look at that you will look at in your unique way and say, I can put this spin on that. I can put that spin on it. I can learn to say it this way, and it might actually be more fun to do it this way. But that will never happen if you don't start moving.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you,
Thank
Bashar.